Greetings and welcome back to my channel. Today we're looking at the 2003 epic fantasy adventure film The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, directed by Peter Jackson and starring Viggo Mortensen, Sir Ian McKellen and Elijah Wood, among many others. Let's begin. The hobbit Smeagol is fishing with his cousin Deagle, who discovers the One Ring in the river. Smeagol's mind is ensnared by the ring and he takes the life of his cousin for it. Increasingly corrupted physically and mentally, he retreats into the misty mountains and becomes known as Gollum. Centuries later, during the War of the Ring, Gandalf leads Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli and King Theoden of Rohan to Isengard, where they reunite with Merry and Pippin. Gandalf retrieves Saruman's Palantir, and the group returns to Edoras to celebrate their victory at Helm's Deep. Pippin looks into the Palantir, seeing Sauron and a burning tree. Gandalf deduces that the enemy plans to attack Gondor's capital Minas Tirith. He rides there to warn Gondor's steward Denethor. Pippin, who accompanies him, swears fealty to Denethor, whose now dead heir Boromir had saved his life. On Gandalf's instruction, Pippin triggers the lighting of the beacons, which calls for help from Rohan. Frodo, who carries the ring, and Sam continue their journey towards Mordor, unaware that Gollum, now their guide, plans to betray them and take the ring for himself. The trio witnessed the Witch King of Angmar, Lord of the Nine Nazgûl, setting off towards Gondor with his army of orcs. Gollum conspires to frame Sam for eating food supplies and desiring the ring. Influenced by the growing power of the ring, Frodo is taken in by the deception and orders Sam to go home. Gollum then tricks Frodo into venturing into the lair of the giant spider Shelob. Frodo narrowly escapes and confronts Gollum, who falls down a chasm after his scuffle. Shelob discovers, paralyzes and blinds Frodo, but is wounded and driven away by a returning Sam, who, mourning Frodo's apparent death, takes the ring. Sam realizes his mistake when a group of orcs takes Frodo captive, but manages to rescue Frodo and as the orcs fight among themselves. Now inside Mordor, the hobbits continue towards Mount Doom, their destination. As King Theoden gathers his army, Elrond tells Aragorn that Arwen is dying, having refused to leave Middle-earth. Elrond gives Aragorn Andúril, reforged from the shards of King Elendil's sword Narsil, and urges him to commit to claiming Gondor's throne, to which he is the heir. Joined by Legolas and Gimli, Aragorn travels the paths of the dead and pledges to release the ghosts there from their curse should they come to Gondor's aid. Meanwhile, Faramir, who was earlier overwhelmed and driven back to Minas Tirith by the Witch King, is gravely wounded in a suicide charge, believing his son to be dead. Denethor falls into madness. Gandalf marshals the defenders, but the huge army of orcs breaks into the city. Denethor attempts to burn himself and Faramir on a pyre, but Pippin alerts Gandalf and they rescue Faramir. Denethor, set ablaze and in agony, jumps to his death. Theoden arrives and leads his army against the orcs. Despite initial success against the orcs in the ensuing battle, they are decimated by the Oliphaunt riding Haradrim, and the Witch King mortally wounds Theoden. However, his niece Eowyn slays the Witch King with Merry's help. Theoden dies in his niece's arms. Aragorn then arrives with his army of the dead, who overcome Sauron's forces. Their oath is fulfilled, and the dead are released from their curse. Aragorn decides to march on Mordor to distract Sauron from Frodo, now extremely weak, and Sam. All of Sauron's remaining forces march to meet Aragorn's diversion, allowing the hobbits to reach Mount Doom. Gollum, who survived his earlier fall, attacks them, but Frodo still manages to enter the mountain. There he succumbs to the ring's power, putting it on his finger, but Gollum manages to bite off his finger and reclaim it. They struggle together and both fall off the ledge. Frodo clings to it with one hand, as remorse and guilt flood his mind in the wake of his succumbing to the ring, when Sam's unwavering faith and belief in his friend convinces him to make one final reach for Sam's hand, saving Frodo's life. Gollum falls and dies. The ring, which fell with him, disintegrates in the lava, causing Barad-dûr to crumble as the Eye of Sauron explodes, destroying the Dark Lord once and for all. Aragorn's army emerges victorious as its enemies and the lands of Mordor collapse into the earth, and Mount Doom erupts, with Frodo and Sam narrowly escaping the lava. Gandalf rescues the hobbits with the help of eagles, and the surviving fellowship is happily reunited in Minas Tirith. Aragorn is crowned King of Gondor and marries Arwen. The hobbits return home to the Shire, where Sam marries Rosie Cotton. 4 years later, Frodo, whose wound inflicted by the Witch King refuses to heal and suffering from trauma, departs Middle-earth for the Undying Lands with his uncle Bilbo, Gandalf, and the elves. He leaves Sam the Red Book of Westmarch, which details their adventures. Sam returns to the Shire, where he embraces Rosie and their children. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below letting me know which movie you'd like to see me do next and what you thought about this one. Thank you so much for watching, take care and goodbye.